Welcome back to part 3. We're going to finish up this reflection on the bottom of the beautiful vase. So I'm using different colors that we talked about before for the reflection. I'm using Sinale 323 Purple Violet, which is a beautiful deep red violet, along with the Richardson 14. And I'm going to use a blender. I use a Soft Tools blender to blend things really well. It's a dense foam and works better than any other product I've tried. I'm also going to add some black with 750 Carbothello and the bright highlights with 384 Madder Carmine. We talked about this on the previous video, but I thought you might like to see how I do it. I'm going to speed it up a little bit and you guys can watch. So I'm adding all the different colors that we talked about to make this shadow really spectacular. Here I'm using a little bit of gray, which is a 720 Carbothello on the outside edge. And when you're working, try to keep your paper clean. That's what the piece of paper is for, is put your hand on and keep your paper clean. If you do get pastel on your paper, you can clean that up with a kneaded eraser. Just be careful. Now we're going to begin painting the begonia flowers. We're going to use a variety of pencils to paint these flowers. First, I'm going to base coat them with Rembrandt's 372.5 permanent red, or you can use any other red soft pastels. I'm going to use a little tiny blender to smooth out the color and blend it in. I also took the time to outline my red flowers so I could see them a little bit better on my paper. You might want to do that. Be careful to stay in the lines. Red tends to migrate across the paper. There's enough red on the paper that I'm able to take some of it and blend it over into the flower next to it. I'm outlining the edge of the flower petal, excuse me, and evening it up with Carbothello 325 Carmine Deep pencil. And then I'll go back and shade and darken the edges of the petal with the Pitt 192 Indian Red and Carbothello 330 Purple. They're both excellent colors. Sometimes it's hard to find the right color when working with red. Here I'm using the Pitt 192 and blending that with my finger, just putting some darkness on the edge of the petal. We're going to shape the petal so it looks like it's going to be rounded by putting that dark Pitt Indian Red. Pitts are great pencils. They're harder than Carbothello, and they definitely have a place in the pastel pencil set. This is the 330 Purple, so I'm taking the color just a little bit darker. Now to lighten the petal, I'm adding some Carmine Red, which is number 310. It is more of an orange red. So I'm lightening that area of the petal so that it comes forward and starts to roll. Now I'm going to use the Carbothello 100 over that to lighten it a little more. Now it turns it a little pink, but it does add the light. And it's very hard to find colors that are going to work really well for you in lightening red. So I'm looking for lighter red values. I'm putting a little white, bright white with Rembrandt white in the center of that petal. Another good way to lighten a petal, which we're going to do on this bottom half of this petal, is to use an orange. So I'm going to use Carbothello 221 orange to add some light color to the bottom petal. Another color that's listed that I used in this project was Pitt 124, which is rose carmine, which we're going to use later on the edges of this flower. For the lightest area of your petals, use Conte 49 light orange, and we're going to add stamens in the flowers with Carbothello orange yellow and Carbothello 221 orange. The orange yellow is Carbothello 210. So follow along with me as I finish this petal. So using Conte 19 for this dark area, and I'll also be using Conte number 39, which is garnet red, to punch up the color in these areas. Conte pencils have an extra bit of color. They're a little more pigmented than some of the other pastel pencils. I'm using a little black Carbothello 750 right on the edge, just a little bit, make that a little bit darker, causes it to round over, and on this folded petal right in the center, I'm also using a little bit of black. On this petal, we're going to start with the Conte 310 Carmine Red on the outside edge, because that's the orange red. So it's a little warmer than our scarlet red. Then in the center of the petal, I'm going to use Conte 49, which is a light orange. And you can see the yellow that's there. That's the stamen that I put in with previously using Carbothello 210 orange yellow and 221 orange to make the bright stamen. So here I'm putting in the Conte 49, which is the light orange. And blend that with my blender. Adding a bit more. Adding a bit of white with Carbothello 100. I'm using the 325 to do the edge, make it a little darker, adding a little more light orange there. You can use it in other places to brighten up areas, which is what you see me doing there. A little more Carmine 310. And then for this very outer edge, I'm using the 325 Carbothello, which is Carmine Red Deep, and darkening it with a Conte 19 purple. I'm using some Conte 19 to add a little darker color to the outside edges of the petal. Conte pencils, as I said, have a little more powerful pigment. They're just a different kind of pastel pencil. So I'm just tweaking this flower before moving on to the next one. On this next flower, I'm using the Conte 19 on the outside edge, and now I'm using Carbothello 325 to fill in the deep red of the flower. And I'm switching over to Carmine 310 as I move towards the center. Use Conte 49 on the bottom edge and a little bit of 325 right at the edge next to the flower underneath. Add a little bit of white over top of the Conte 49 to brighten, and up at the very top of the petal. Use Carbothello 310 in the center of that petal on the bottom half of it, and then switch to 325 as you move up the petal. And darken with Conte number 19. Lighten the bottom edge with Conte 42. Draw in stem, the shadow side with Conte 19. Use Conte 49 to highlight the outer stem and add a little bit of Carbothello 325. Darken it at the top a little bit. Use 330 or 325. Blend it with your blender. Make it a little darker if you like with the Conte 19. I'm using the same colors to complete this flower. 325 Carbothello. .49 Conte pencil. A little more 325 to tone down the 49. Some 310 Carbothello pencil to create a little more orange. So we're using the same pencil colors according to the list that came with your pattern, which gives the lights, the dark value, and the medium values that I'm using to paint these flowers. And a little bit of black. Black is always good to shade over colors, to darken them, and to add more definition. I'm using Conte number 39 Garnet Red to color the outside edge of this petal. Then I'm down at the bottom, I'm using the Carbothello 325 to make a lighter color, and on the outside edge I'm using 310, which has an orange value. And on the very edge, put the Conte 49 to lighten it up. Outline and color in the stem with Pit 192 Indian Red. You can lighten the top of that with a Carbothello brown, or you can use one of the oranges, which would be 221 orange Carbothello. Or Conte 49. On this little leaf that sticks out down here next to our green leaf, outline the bottom edge with Conte 49 and then fill in the leaf with Conte 39. Add some 310 Carmine Carbothello to the top. Add a little more Conte 49 at the top and a little bit of Carbothello white at the bottom. Fill in the top part of this petal with Conte 39 on the bottom edge next to the vein and Carbothello 310 at the top for an orangey red, and then on the very outside edge add Conte 49. Use 750 black to deepen the petal next to the vein and blend that in with your finger. Use a little more 310 Carbothello pencil to finish blending out. And I'm adding a little bit of yellow, which would be Carbothello 210 to the top edge. makes it a little brighter. And then using Conte 19 to darken the vein with a little black 750 Carbatello on top of that. Blend and lighten edges as needed. Using the Carbatello 210 yellow is nice, and also using the Conte 49. Now we're starting this back petal, and I'm going to outline it with Carbatello 49. And color in the light areas. Fill in the light area of the petal with Carbatello 310 and add Conte 39 at the bottom over top of the 310 to darken the petal. Add light area in the petal with Carbatello 221 orange and use your blender to fan out the highlights on the petal. Brighten with the Carbatello 210, which is a yellowish color. Called orange yellow, and that will brighten out that area a little bit. Add Conte 39 on the edge to darken it. use Carbothello 100 white to add brighter highlights on the flower stem. Add some background around your vase and flowers with a Mount Vision 544. I like Mount Visions for backgrounds. They're very soft. They have some very nice colors. Blend it carefully with your little blender around your flower. And fade the background out. We're not going to put background around the entire picture. We just want to draw attention to our vase and flowers, so we're going to fade it out. Use your blenders to do that. Thank you for joining me for this episode, part 3. I hope you'll come back for part 4 and we'll work on the other side on the flowers.